Hi, I'm filming outside again. Can't be helped. Shall we play historians of ideas again? Let's talk about Marx's philosophy as regards the material conception of history. For convenience sake, Marx's philosophy is separated into pure philosophy, that's where dialectics comes in, political economy, and the material conception of history. If continued use and survival is a sign of the value of an idea, the material conception of history is valued, although unacknowledged that it comes from Marx. I would like to talk today about the material conception of history. Later, and in connection with that, we'll have to look at what Marx thought about the state and ideology, but that will be for later. First, I considered two openings for this topic: the material conception of history. Couldn't decide between them, so I'll give you both of them in short. One is, can you imagine the end of 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century, the difficulties that historians and students of history ran into when studying history? The history textbooks were full with great names: Alexander the Great, Elizabeth I, Nelson, Napoleon, Wellington, and many others, and what they did, great battles and who won, constitutional changes and when, political parties, and so on. And it wasn't really clear which of those things really mattered and how they were connected with each other, how they made history. That was before Marx came with his idea of the material conception of history, the causes that make societies to change and social orders that follow one another. And the second opening was during the time when Marx and Engels lived. It was widely accepted Hegel's philosophy of history. It was idealistic. Hegel's, in considering being, the being of everything that is, of every being, which is an abstraction in philosophy, it doesn't really exist. His philosophy was idealistic. So for him, the whole of being was whole with a capital H, the absolute reason, mind, because they, for him, didn't have limits, any limitations. So for him, this reason, absolute reason, in order to fulfill itself, to come to really know itself, had created the material world and all the human beings and their self-consciousness, and through it guided in a certain way history, and that was what human history was. He considered the separate human beings only as tools of this supreme self-consciousness. After his death, the movement of the young Hegelians criticized his teaching, and Marx as well, who considered that in order to study history, you have to make several premises, the first and foremost of which was that history is the history of actual existing, living human beings. Human beings are different from animals by many things. Their consciousness, religion, and so on. But the most important thing by which humans are different from animals is that they make tools. Humans have to live. In order to live, they have to find subsistence. They produce their subsistence. In order to do that, they have to make and use tools. In order to do that, to produce things, they don't live isolated lives as isolated individuals. They live together with other people. In order to produce, they have to get into some relations. They have to cooperate. And with the increase of population, there was improvement of tools, of technologies, and division of labor appeared, through which certain productive relations appeared. And they are different from the productive forces and the means of production. The means of production are the tools, the technology itself. Productive forces include human talent, the ability to create new technologies. And in production, the relations of production were very important. So, through history, Marx considered that there were different epochs, different social orders, different social arrangements. The first one, he said, was the tribal organization of society, and there were definite forms of property accompanying each social order. So first the tribal society, then the ancient slave-owning society, then comes feudalism, and then capitalism. Together with Engels, he wrote a book about that, criticizing Hegel and expounding their own view on the matter, and that book was the German ideology. Bye.